Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening. Stephanie Joy with All Things Social Security. As you know, this is Red Friday and also Friday Fraud Law Review. Red Friday because we like to take a moment to think about, aside from all the other days of the week, I do this, our deployed military members who can't be home with their family like most of us can be. So this whole Fraud Law Review is dedicated to them. This is actually the third week where we're talking specifically because they've come all in a row in the reportings from the SSA Office of Inspector General, fraudulent theft of dead persons, what would be their Social Security benefits, but for the fact that they died, they still are on the ranks of the alive with the SSA, and some nefarious greedies among them decide to continue taking their benefits after they're dead. As you know, there's no entitlement for a dead person to even have benefits coming in his name anyway, after he has passed. So this particular one is the Northern District of New York in Liverpool. So the title goes like this, and I have not read it yet, so we're just getting to it. Liverpool man is indicted for wire fraud and aggravated identity theft, aggravated, in a decade-long Social Security scheme. Now, this person was arraigned recently, because this is from the end of July 2026. So I'm not going to say his name because he has not been found guilty, and that would be, I think, not fair. So once he's found guilty, I'll take it to the hilt. Okay. The fella is 68. Like I said, Liverpool, New York. He was indicted on the 18th of June. Arraigned on July, what did they say? I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was late July. All right. So the indictment alleges that his mother-in-law passed away in 2016, that this SSA was not informed of the death, and that this fellow converted her Social Security benefits checks to his own use for nearly 10 years. I wonder if he had a spouse that was the child of the mother-in-law. Between August of 2016 and September of 2025, this fellow forged his mother-in-law's signature on monthly Social Security benefits checks. So I guess she was getting, if he's 68, she must have been really, really old. Sorry, but just saying. And maybe that's why she was kind of grandfathered in being able to have paper checks, because generally now you're not going to be able to get that. It's going to be by debit card or by, and this just answers the question, debit card or direct deposit to bank account. But if she died in 2016, I know they had the debit card. Can't remember when it became mandatory. This is my third decade handling Social Security disability matters, so I'm not sure. It's been forever though. I'm just thinking she was a paper person like everybody was of her generation and even after, and maybe they didn't force them to go on the card like they do now. Okay, and there might be some bizarre exceptions. So he was forging her checks. Funny, I just mentioned that. The SSA switched from paper checks to direct deposit only in September of 2025. Okay, so the forcing came in 2025. Most people just did it voluntarily prior to that. You know, it's funny, when I started doing this kind of work in the early 2000s, I remember I was getting in my first checks, my fee checks, and they'd come in a paper thing, and you knew what it was because it had the same kind of appearance as your tax refund. And you know, I'd get the mail, or my husband would pick up the mail, and it would be like, he'd be like, honey, you know, because I was completely switching from regular, you know, New Jersey state general practice law to exclusively federal Social Security disability law. So it was a huge, huge difference in how you see your revenue come in, your livelihood. That's so funny. The paper checks, they were great. I think he really missed them when it went to direct deposit, because he couldn't come home and go, honey. Sorry, I digress. Okay. This fellow then continued his scheme after it switched from paper check of the old lady to direct deposit. He continued his scheme by posing online as his dead mother-in-law to apply for and arrange direct wire transfer deposits of Social Security benefits checks to his personal bank account from September 2025 until April of 2026. The indictment alleges that he defrauded the program of more than, looks like 142,000. The charges in the indictment are merely accusations. The defendant is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. I agree with that. They say that he's facing justice after 10 years of fraud. And they're giving a quote, kind of like a redundant quote. But they do say this, though. He then brazenly expanded the scheme by using her name to apply online for direct deposit payments from the Social Security Administration into his own bank account. And it's just funny, the terminology that he used, brazenly. The whole thing is brazen. That wasn't the point that it became brazen. It was just that I would say he was very confident that the SSA was just too dumb to catch him, which frankly it was if took 10 years. There's got to be a better way to confirm whether someone's alive or dead. Perhaps it should be where, I don't know, I don't want to say anything that'll get me in trouble because it's unthought out, but almost everyone that's older, unless they're kind of confined by nefarious people, go to the doctor, get prescriptions. So maybe that is a way to determine whether the person, at least an indicia of whether the person's still alive, instead of just, hoping for the best. And 10 years later, you find out that 10 years of payments went out. Now, here's a funny thing. The fellow is 68 years old. What's the chance of him paying back that $140,000? And paying the amount, paying it back, and then the $250,000 they're going to nail him for the fine. So that whole thing is just like, you can read about the potential penalties, but they're not going to get it. And same with prison. We don't see a lot of that with these reports. And I get it. I get the economics of it all. I don't really as much get the compassion of it all. He's an old man. So what? He's an old man. He's an old man thief. That makes him even worse. So let's say, well, they do point to exploiting a deceased beneficiary's identity for personal gain over a decade is a deliberate theft. I mean, sounds like they would like to see him get nailed pretty hard, but when it comes down to the judges, who knows what that judge up there is going to be like? Is he like a wrist slapper, or does he actually like to deter other people from doing the same thing? As of now, it just seems very profitable to do this kind of fraud. The chances of getting caught seem to be slim, although now with this task force, thankfully, in place, they're catching a lot of these. But what are they going to do when the next administration comes in and they destroy the task force? We don't have fraud. Everyone's learned. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So they say that the charges that are filed against him include a maximum term of 20 years in prison on wire fraud counts, up to 10 years for theft of government property, and a mandatory 2 years for aggravated identity theft. I don't think they're going to give it to him, but stranger things have happened. I personally would let him go rot in jail. I would. He's going to get 3 hots in a cot. Why not? He may be ordered to pay restitution to the government, yet we know he's probably not going to. I mean, unless he's secretly wealthy and was just doing this because he's greedier than, a regular person, and needed more, I don't see how he's going to be paying it back. Let's see. So the SSA OIG was investigating this case, so they did a really good job of catching it, I suppose. There's probably a whole new OIG in there since 2025, so that's maybe part of why we might be seeing some more of those old cases. But in all fairness, I was reading these things long before the new administration, or newer present administration. So who knows? All right, guys. Thank you again, military, who are doing so much on our behalf on some very important matters that could feasibly change the entire future of the world for the better. It's been a long time coming, so I thank you for being the brave people that are out there defending us like that and defending the future safety of everybody around the globe and in the United States. Thank you so much. God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.